Exodus chapter 20. I want to read a couple verses of the scripture there. I got a quick thought that I want to share. Exodus chapter 20. It says, now when the people saw that Moses delayed coming down from the mountain, the people gathered together to Aaron and said to him, come, make us gods that shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him. And Aaron said to them, break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives and your sons and your daughters, and bring them to me. So all the people broke off the golden earrings which were in their ears and brought them to Aaron. And he received the gold from their hand, and he fashioned it with an engraving tool, and he made a molten calf. Then they said, this is your God, O Israel, that brought you out of the land of Egypt. So when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made a proclamation and said, tomorrow is a feast to the Lord. Then they rose early on the next day, offered burnt offerings, and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and drink, and they rose up to play. Verse 7, and the Lord said to Moses, go get Aaron, for your people, whom you brought out of the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves. They've turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made themselves a molten calf and worshipped it, sacrificed to it, and said that this is your God, O Israel, that brought you out of the land of Egypt. And the Lord said to Moses, I have seen this people, and they are a stiff-necked people. Now therefore, let me alone, that my wrath may burn hot against them, and may consume them, for I will make of you a great nation. Then Moses pleaded with the Lord God and said, Lord, why does your wrath burn hot against your people, whom you brought out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? Why should the Egyptians speak and say, he brought them out to harm them, to kill them in the mountain, and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from your fierce wrath and relent this harm to your people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, your servants, to whom you swore by your own self, and said to them, I will multiply your descendants as the stars of the heaven. All this land that I have spoken of, I will give to your descendants, and they shall inherit it forever. Verse 14, so the Lord relented from the harm which he said he would do to his people. I love this passage.
Where are you at?
32.
What did I say?
20.
32. Y'all should have said something earlier. Now I got to read it all over again. Said nobody ever. Listen, it's been a busy day, all right? I had a lot going on in my mind today. Exodus, what, I said 21? Is that really? Blake's fault. So Exodus 32, 1 through 14. I don't know where 20 came from. I got nothing that says 20. I got nothing that says 20. Maybe I just wished I was 20.
More rest.
I need more rest, you think? So Exodus 32, 1 through 14. Thank you for your patience and allowing me to continue to read while y'all search the wrong scriptures. Don't y'all know what I'm thinking? Despite the confusion, I still like this passage of scripture. I like it better when you all read along with me in Exodus 32. So I have no idea where 20 came from. I've had that happen a number of times. You speak enough for a living, and you will say stuff. You got, what did I say? So it's all good. It's all good. Exodus 32, 1 through 14 is the passage we just read. I just read to you, which basically tells you the story where Moses goes up to see and spend time with the Lord, and while he's out of the people's presence, stuff happens. I like it, and I'm going to kind of go backwards. I like it because it reminds me of the fact that we are alive because somebody interceded for us.
Amen.
We are alive today. Many of my children are alive because their mother allowed them to live when I wanted to kill them.
Amen.
Many of my children, both of my children are alive today because when she wanted to kill them, I wouldn't let her. We both make mistakes. So the fact is, when we have children, how many of y'all got children that sometimes you wanted to kill? Don't point at them. I'm just saying, in general, there's times you don't have any children, Blake. Your brother doesn't count. So when you have children, sometimes children will get on your nerves. And you know what frustrates you most about your children? When they act like you. When they act like you, that's what makes you just want to choke them, because you're thinking, you should be better than that. But they didn't have a lot of hope because they came from you. I tell my daughter all the time, I say, I love her dearly. I said, but she got the worst of both of us. And so she has a stubbornness, and she has a strong-mindedness that are positive in so many areas, but sometimes they just get on your last good nerve. They get on my last good nerve. She called me last week. She was having a problem with her breaker. And I was like, well, here's how you blah, 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 blah. Here's how you take care of it. I said, I'm 12, 14 hours away. I can't get there just real quick. It's not an easy trip. I said, however, we can always call. It's New Year's Day. She had part of them. We can call somebody, an electrician, on the 2nd. Well, I got to go to work. I said, you ain't got any friends over 18 years old that are off? Yeah, but I don't want them at my house. I said, well, you'll want to. Don't mean nothing if your breaker's bad.
Amen.
Get over you'll want to. I said, fine, kid. I said, you deal with it. Why does she have issues like that? Because the apple has not fallen too far from the family tree. She has the same issues her father has. So I can get mad at her, frustrated at her, but the fact of the matter is, who she is a product of who we are. And we always want to blame somebody else when somebody else is acting ignorant. It's not our fault. You all heard the story, I'm sure, about the husband and wife that were having a big fight. They were driving down a road, and he looked over and he saw a donkey, and he said, look, there's part of your family, he said to his wife. And she looked over, she said, yep, my in-laws. And she went, we all have those issues. We want to blame somebody else for why we're this way, why we struggle, why we have problems. But I like it because Moses is interceding, and he brings out a point that is so imperative that I think too often we miss. The Israelites said in the first part of this chapter, if I didn't write the first time I read it, and you all had read it along with me, they don't know where Moses was, the man who brought us out.
Right.
God gets mad at the Israelites when they start doing something stupid and says, go down to your people that you brought out. And Moses stops and says, oh. Now in the Amplified version it says this, have you lost your mind? I was minding my own business on the backside of the desert. I didn't want nothing to do with these people. I didn't like these people. I left these people in Israel because I didn't care about them people. You're the one that told me I had to go back over there. You're the one that told me to get Aaron.
That's right.
It's your fault, God. That's what Adam said. That woman you gave me. She said, it was a serpent. The serpent said, the devil made me do it. I mean, I'm just saying, wherever it is, we all have that tendency to go there. But too often, it is a reality that we look at people as if they are the thing that brought us out. People never bring you out. It's God that brought you out.
Amen.
Have you ever looked at somebody and said, you made me feel XYZ, good, bad, ugly? They can't make you feel nothing.
Amen. That's right.
Because if I could make you feel happy, then when you were feeling sad, I would turn the button that makes you feel happy. If you're mad, I would push the button that makes you feel happy. They made me do this. Nobody can make you do nothing. You got to make choices along the way. Y'all look like y'all don't understand that concept. Nobody can make you do something. Oh, they can put you, they can put a gun to your head. Maybe they can force you, but they can't make you in the sense of cause you to want. Why did you hit them? They made me. They made you? They grabbed your hand and smacked themselves in the face with it. Well, no, but I got mad. They made me mad. They made you mad? What ingredients did they add to make you mad? Pastor, you being silly. No, I'm not being silly. I'm being honest. What happened was they said something we disagreed with or did something we didn't like, and then we had the choice.
Yes.
And we chose mad because it was easy. We're 2/3 water. 2/3 of the time we choose the easiest path, like water does. Water always chooses a path of least resistance. We are 2/3 water. 2/3 of the time, y'all look like y'all don't understand that concept. 2/3 of the time, we choose paths because they're easy, not because they're right.
Well.
We choose past because it's easier to do this than it is to deal with that. And so Moses brings back to God's remembrance, not like God didn't know, but he's like, wait a minute, I didn't bring these people out. Don't blame me. Minding my own business, watching father-in-law's sheep. You're the one that put the burning bush. You're the one that spoke to me. The only reason I'm here is because of you. Now, I got to bring that out because it's extremely important. Because too often what happens is we blame ourselves and we walk around in the false guilt, not realizing, but for the grace of God, we wouldn't even be where we are. We beat ourselves up. Oh, I made this mistake, that mistake, the other mistake. I brought these children of Israel out, but they're horrible kids. They're stiff-necked people. They're stubborn. They're hard to get along with. They got tempers. They're angry. Yeah, they're alive. They get confused. And somebody has to intercede for us. Let me back up and show you the rest of the story, the first part of the story now. First part of the story says, now the people of Israel are becoming frustrated. Now the people of Israel. Now. When? When is now? Often we think now as a moment, just like at this exact second. But the truth of the matter is, now usually occurs when our patience has run out. Have you ever been to a restaurant and they sit you down and you want to order your drink? I want water, you want to order your Coke, you want to order your coffee, you want to order whatever. And they set you down, and as soon as they set you down, they say, I'll be right back. And then they leave you. And there you are sitting in the restaurant, and you can see them behind the little window talking to each other, checking their phone, having a conversation. And you're out here looking at them, waving, and they never pay attention. Have you ever had the waiter that comes over and does this? He is so quick to walk by that he never sees. I'm the only person that gets bad service in America. Y'all, thank you. I'll just talk to you. Anybody else ever had no bad service? Just you and I. We're the only ones. My wife, who sends stuff back, won't even say anything, but we have bad service. We get frustrated. We've sat there before, and I've watched people. We were at one restaurant. Y'all forgive me. We were at one restaurant. We'd actually taken the board out to eat. And I was like, coffee? And I don't know why in God's name they only fill half a cup. If I only wanted half a cup, I'd have ordered half a cup. Can you not put the coffee all the way to the top? Because you know when they go to their house, they don't put a half a cup. But when they come to you, they pour you a half a cup. And by the time they leave, you've already drank it. Now you're asking for more. Well, they hadn't been by in a while. I'd watched them walk. But they had blinders on. I'm the only person that ever has that waiter. And so my problem is I watch where you all go, and I ain't scared. So I got up and walked in the back, and they had a pot of coffee made, so I just grabbed it. I brought it over to our tables, and I just started pouring coffee. And they were like, we're going to do that. I said, I know, but I gave up waiting. Then I got done pouring our coffee. I put it back. And you could tell they were frustrated. I could tell that person wasn't happy. And they could tell that I didn't care. If she'd have brought me my coffee, I wouldn't have had to get up to begin with. Amen. I wanted coffee now. Now, I really wanted coffee before now. But now is the point where my patience has given up. Now is the point where I can no longer wait because of my impatience. Now, you notice what I'm saying. At no point am I blaming anybody else but myself. It was my impatience. Nobody else at the table got up. All of them were doing the little clicky thing with the spoon to make noise, to get the waiter's attention. They were all stirring an empty cup. They would hold it up like a blind person begging for alms. One person jumped up and put on a napkin, "We'll work for coffee." It was bad. We were there. Nobody else's patience ran out, but mine did. Because now is always the point when you can no longer wait. Not that you should no longer wait. It's just you can no longer wait because you get impatient. You become frustrated. They were expecting something from God. They were expecting a revelation from God. They had seen Moses go to the top of the mountain. They'd seen Moses come back down. Every time Moses got along with God and he came out, something great happened. Water came out of a rock. Quail came down. Manna from heaven. Seas opened up. But Moses has been gone too long now. I'm not hearing the revelation I need now. I'm not seeing the miracle now. I don't have a new instruction, and the old instruction was wait, and I'm frustrated on waiting. Waiting on you. Lord, I'm waiting on you until now. Now I'm frustrated because you should have done something by now, God. Surely by now something should have happened. Surely by now my kids ought to act right. Surely by now I should have more money in the bank. Surely by now this should have occurred. Surely by now I should be healed. Surely, y'all look at me like, come on now. You all understand what I'm saying. By now, surely, that's why somebody said God's first name is Shirley. Surely by now, Lord. I thought it was Andy. Andy walks with me. So, so the thing is this is what's happening. Now when the people now is the enemy of your patience. Now is I can't see. Because now the people, what it says, now when the people see that Moses is delayed. Which is interesting because now what they see is something that can't be seen. How do you know Moses is delayed? Well, I don't see him showing up. So what's delayed? Delay means it didn't happen on my time schedule. Delay is always, my time is, I'm going to meet somebody at 11:35. It's 11:34 right now. They got 1 minute to show up. Because at 11:36, I'm leaving. Well, should we not sync our watches? Well, you don't have to sync watches now because they're all off a satellite. Maybe, but I got watches you still got to wind up. I got watches that if you don't move, it doesn't charge itself. They stay behind times. They stay dead. I got some watches that are on battery watches. My friend of mine says battery. I got battery watches or battery watches. And if the battery is going bad, it can keep time, but it keeps a slow time. I had a pastor friend of mine who used to pastor, and he's right there. Literally, his church was on the line. So half of his church was on fast time. Half of his church is on slow time, Ken, when he pastored over in Garfield. And so his bulletin was almost all times. Fast time, slow time. Church starts at 10:30 fast time, 9:30 slow time. It's over on this time. And this time, and it was just everything was hysterical because you were at his church, all the bulletins were there, and it was just nothing but time schedules because everybody lived on different. There were people who were neighbors who lived on different times. It's amazing, isn't it? But when we have a delay, we get frustrated. Why? Because now is when it didn't happen in our timeline. Kids come, I'm starving. They're not starving, they just ate. Can I have a cookie now? I want the cookie. I want it now. Why do you got to have it now? I don't want to wait. Your birthday is tomorrow. I don't want to wait till. How many of y'all have kids that opened up Christmas presents on Christmas Eve? Because it was too far away to wait till Christmas morning. We were allowed, as a kid growing up, we were always allowed to open up one gift on Christmas Eve. But it was always a gift that my mother picked. And it was always pajamas. At my house, she did it every year. We pulled out pajamas. And the only reason she pulled out those pajamas every year was because she didn't want pictures with our pajamas of the year because we had grown so much. Our hose or all that different stuff. And so we had to get pajamas for Christmas every year for many years. I don't know why she did that. We never got the pictures developed. We never had the money developed. That was back in the day when you took a picture and you couldn't see it. So you had to actually send it all someplace and then it would come back. So I want to clarify for those that don't know what development is. You develop. What do you mean you couldn't see it? Don't you just, right there it is? No, not back then.
How many of y'all have ever took film and put it in? You weren't even sure what it was. And you were surprised when you got it back? Okay, that just means, okay. So we can't see what's happening. Now is the enemy, because when I don't feel God, when I don't see God, when I don't hear from God, when I'm not able to touch Him, that's when now occurs. Now is when the people, and I want to stop, I'm going real slow on purpose, I want you to see this. Now when the people, aren't people amazing? You know the problem with most people? They're people-eating. We were having a conversation the other day outside. My daughter's got a shirt. She goes, I used to love people, but people ruined it. I used to love people, but people... How many of y'all ever know people that ruin your people skills? How many of y'all are sitting next to somebody that ruined... No, I'm just saying. That ruin your people. I love people. I think people are great. But then you meet people and you're like, hey. In real estate, what made you tell you was, how many of y'all love houses and love people? In 6 months, you'll hate them both. We were going out, oh, don't you love looking at houses? No, I love closing them. I never like looking at them. I just pick one. So people, now when people, let me say it like this. Have you ever noticed that people who complain never do it alone? People who complain never do it alone. They never come and just complain to you. No. And because they gotta go complain to Joey first to see if Joey's tired of waiting too. And because now if Joey's not tired of waiting, I gotta go talk to Christine, because surely Christine's tired. Oh, she's not tired of waiting? Well, I know Pat's tired of waiting. Pat's good tired. See, Pat and I are both not tired of waiting, so now we can have a conversation. And while we're having a conversation, we're going to find out if Bethany's tired of waiting too. And if Jack, you're tired of waiting, now all of a sudden I got a group of people that I can, as a representative, go to Moses and say, the people. Now the people aren't seeing Moses come down. Now we got a problem. I can go and say, Aaron, we got a problem. The people, because misery always wants company. So if you're frustrated and aggravated, I don't care if somebody's happy, you got to bring them down. Have you ever met people when they walk in, they're like a black hole? You walked in full of energy, and as soon as they sat next to you, there was a sucking sound and your energy. You tried to recharge, but it sucked all the electricity out of your house. Y'all ever met people like, am I the only person? People whose faces are so long that they suck oats out of the tailpipe of a car. I mean, you all know the people I'm talking about. People who are so narrow-minded they can look through the keyhole with both eyes. I mean, those kind of people are the people you got to watch out for. I'm just saying, they're crazy people. But that's what happened. Now, when the people saw, that means somebody had to be gathering together a separate mentality of what they thought God should do. Have you ever had somebody have a revelation from God for you that wasn't a revelation from God for you? Yes. You ever had somebody, if you was really loving Jesus, if God was really involved in this, my favorite one is always, if God's involved, it always turns out good. The lion that ate the Christian might say that. But the Christian that was ate might have a differing opinion. The people who could see as they walked the roads to Rome loved the light that was provided, but the Christian who was dipped in tar and crucified and burned was probably not happy that he was the light. Not everything turns out the way you think it should. All things work together for the good, but a good is not the good. Sometimes you may have to go through a difficult time, Joseph. You may find yourself in a pit when your family don't like you. Your family will sell you into slavery, and somebody will lie about you, and you'll find yourself in jail, forgotten by the very people you help.
But somewhere in time, God works all things together for the good. So don't let a bad mess up the good. You can't have electricity without a positive and a negative. You got to have both wires. And what really helps is when it's grounded. Too many of us have had our ground fault interrupted and our stuff don't work no more. That was like a really good electrical issue for a person who don't know jack about electricity. But it's reality, because what happens is there is a surge that pops our breaker. Come on now. You were connected to Jesus and everything was great. Manna was coming from heaven. You're eating quail, water from a rock. Your shoes aren't wearing out. Your kids are being good. Your complexion's wonderful. And then all of a sudden, poof, the world changed. And you were okay for a minute or a couple days. But in the ice storm, at what point did you get frustrated that the electricity wasn't back on? How many of y'all lasted more than an hour? Maybe a day, a week, 2 weeks. I talked to a guy the other day when the hurricane hit Puerto Rico. His family still doesn't have electricity. Was it 18 months, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that? It's been a couple of years and still no electricity. I think I'd be gathering a people group. Frustrated. Now when the people saw, the people, that group who will justify your false assessment of reality. Y'all ever know anybody got a false assessment of reality? Y'all ever know people that, the crazy house is full of people who think they're, Napoleon Bonaparte, or they think they're Spider-Man, or they think they're whatever, and you're like, yeah, you're not Spider-Man. They think they're Superman, they put a cape on and jump off the house. Just me. So and they jump off because they think they're Superman. They think no, it's a false reality. And sometimes our perception of reality is wrong. And we think because Moses is delayed coming down, that obviously he's left us. But what in your history would make you think that God forgot you when he brought you out of Egypt? And he didn't just bring you out of Egypt by showing up and knocking on the door and saying, come on. Come on, now think about it. How did he bring you out of Egypt? Remember the flies that came everywhere but your place?
That's right.
The locusts that came everywhere but your place? When the death occurred, it happened everywhere but your place? When you got to the Red Sea and it opened up, and it tells you from one place to another, which is about 19 miles apart. I mean, it didn't open up open up and you get to walk through a crowd. No, it opened up 19 miles apart. From here to Shepherdsville. Wow. 19 miles. Let's go for a walk. Oh, but we got water in front of us. Okay, we'll open it up. 19 miles away. That's like some serious opening up of water.
That's true.
And then when the Egyptians followed you, the water collapsed on them. And on the other side of the river, the Jordan, a Red Sea, you all are dancing and rejoicing, getting the desert and got the water. Water comes out of a rock. Manna comes from heaven. Quail come in. And you're saying God forgot you? Take a moment and think over your life. How God has provided over and over and over and over again. But because now you're going through a dry spell. 2018 was difficult. Now you're in 2019. You're 6 days into it. You still think you're still in 18. I know you still think you're in 18 because some of y'all are still writing 18. Because you're in a habit of thinking of your past instead of your future. I'm just saying. So people get together. They all get together. What do? They begin to get a group together to complain. Let me complain. Let me develop a narrative. Listen to their narrative. Moses is delayed coming from the mountain, so the people gather together to Aaron, and they say to him, come, make us gods. They go to Aaron because he is a symbol of leadership. Moses was a leader, but Aaron's their symbol of leadership. And they go to him with their complaints about a delay. I'm really trying to show this because they go to Aaron. Aaron was the priest, but he was a priest without principles. He was a priest without purpose. He was a priest who never heard from God. Moses told them what God said. You don't read in Scripture where Aaron said it. They went to the person who had no relationship with God, but a great relationship with man, to hear what God had to say. Be careful who you go to for advice. Be careful who you go to for advice, because there are people who will condone what man says is okay. But what does God say? Moses, when they came to Moses and complained, you'll read the scripture, Moses went to go find God and said, I don't know what to do, man. Got Egyptians behind me, I got a river in front of me. What am I going to do? You know what Aaron did? Aaron said, bring me your money. Now y'all found Exodus 32, right? Bring me the gold. Bring me your gold. Bring me your earrings. Bring me those things. Bring me your money. Be careful when the person who wants to give you advice wants your money first.
That's right.
They came together to Aaron, a priest without principles, a priest without purpose, a priest without a word, a priest for hire. Listen what they did. They come to him. Here's what he says. Give me your gold earrings. Bring me all the gold. So they did. Then he fashioned. I went too fast. Let me slow down again. Come together to Aaron and said to him, come, make us gods that shall go before us. Now I want you to see that. He said, make us gods. Make us, plural, gods, plural. The plurality of people will always bring about duplicity in God. The plurality of people will always try to bring about a duplicity in God. Like God's schizophrenic. Like God's not in charge. Make us God. They didn't say make a God for us. They said make us gods. Because anytime that you quit submitting to the real God, you're setting yourself up as a God. Make us God. Let us decide for us where we ought to go. Let us be in charge. Let us make the decision. Let us design our own rules. We don't have to submit to God. Let us be gods. Make us gods. And Aaron said, for the right price, I'll make you a god. Y'all know I call bingo. Somebody said, can you call me a bingo? I said, you're a bingo. So they you're that. No, you're not a god. But that's what they wanted. Make us gods, because we want to be rulers of our own destiny. We want to be rulers of our own timeline. We want to be in charge. Let us make a god. So he made them for themselves. He says, bring me your gold. They brought the gold, and he makes a calf. I don't think it's a big deal, or I think it is a big deal that he made a calf, because one of the things they had to bring for a sacrifice was the blood of bulls and goats. So what Aaron says is, I will be symbolic of God, and I'll make you a symbol of God. It just won't be a real God. Don't ever settle for a fake. I had a preacher I know one time, somebody gave him a Louis Vuitton bag. A little briefcase at the shake case, a Louis Vuitton at the shake case. Louis Vuitton, expensive bags. His bag broke. And he took it back to the Louis Vuitton store. And he said this was a gift. And I'm telling you, he threw this big old fit about how this Louis Vuitton, and it even had Louis Vuitton on there, and how this bag is supposed to work, and blah, 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 and it's broke. And the person took it to the back, came back out front, handed it back to him and said, sir, we don't service knockoffs and fakes and copies. You're mad because your false God didn't live up to your expectations, because you were impatient on the real God.
Yes, Lord, yes.
We bring bulls and goats, so maybe God looks like a goat or a cow. So let's take all this gold from people and we'll make us a golden calf. And that'll symbolize God. No. What symbolizes God is a word that'll change your life.
Amen.
Come out from among them. Pharaoh, let my people go. By this time tomorrow, you'll never see this enemy again. That's what symbolizes God, because he brings victory to your life no matter how it comes. So they got a false god, made it up, they did all this stuff, and all of a sudden they start dancing around naked around this golden calf because they like duplicity, they like the plurality, they want multiple gods. I always say this because it's a person who initiated it first live, and people bought into it. It was Oprah Winfrey theology that said all roads lead to heaven. All roads don't lead to heaven. I mean, even the world knows that. It was a stairway to heaven and a highway to hell. I'm just... That's cute. I'm just saying, young people are like, what? See, what it was is they wanted a handmade God. But if you can make it, you can control it. But if it made you, he should control you. Amen. They made their own little thing, and here's what they did. It cost them more than they thought it was going to cost them. Somebody said a long time ago, sin will cost you more than you want to pay, keep you longer than you want to stay. It always will. So they come in and they do all these different things, and they fail to recognize what's happening. And so verse 5 says, tomorrow is a feast to the Lord. I want you to see something. Earlier it says, make us a god, small g. Tomorrow is a feast to the Lord, big L. So tomorrow's feast to the Lord is a real feast to God, the real God. Amen. But yet, what they did was a mistake that too often we all do. They put a small g where a big L was supposed to be. Right. They put a small God in front of the Lord Jehovah. Lord is a unique word because we don't understand it today because we don't have lords over us. But lords back in the day, they controlled everything. They would let you, everything that you had belonged to the Lord of that area. So when you make Jesus Christ Lord of your life, everything you have belongs to him. Amen. Everything you have belongs to him. So if he wants your truck, he gets your truck. He wants this, he wants that. You got it, it's all yours. To understand it, it's a way. She says tomorrow is going to be a feast for the Lord. So what we're going to do is we're going to parade our small g God and have a celebration where we should be honoring the true God, and we're going to honor a false God. Now, at what point do you think God got mad? The scriptures don't record him getting mad when they were complaining to Aaron about Moses' delay. The scriptures don't record them getting mad when Aaron took their money. The scriptures don't record them getting mad when they broke the golden calf. The scriptures record God got mad when they started giving his glory to something that did not do anything for them. And that's when God said, oh, no. I will do 3 snaps in a Z-like formation. So this is how old I am. He says, how? Moses, we're having a good time. But stop. Them crazy people down there, they are not celebrating me. They have made for themselves a golden calf. And they're dancing naked around the golden calf. They partied around the golden calf. And like that calf brought them out. That calf didn't bring them out. I brought that stuff to them. I did those things. I did those things. I did those things. And I'm not going to share my glory with any man. Amen. I'm going to knock their block off. I am going to wear them out. I mean, the way I grew up, the belt would come off, wrapped around the hand, and now the beatings will now begin. I was the only one, just you and I. Nobody else was raised that way. But when my stepfather came in, it was time. I know, Ray, you had to say, it was time, the beatings. And if there was no belt, whatever they could find was close enough. You ain't been whipped. You've been whipped no, that wasn't even painful. No, not even a switch. Hot wheel track. Until you had a Hot Wheel track laid across your back, you don't even know. Y'all don't know Hot Wheel track. Y'all forgive me, I'm old. I'm just saying, when you have one of those, if you've never been beat with a thorn bush, you don't know the joy of stopping. You don't know the joy of intercession. You don't know the joy when somebody's wearing you out. I mean, all you want is to get away. And God said, all this I own. I'm going to go down there, and then people who are stiff-necked, stubborn, bullheaded, your people, Moses. You're the one that brought them out, got them out here. I'm killing them. I'm going to keep you. I like you. But the rest of them are toast. You're the only one that's going to come out. I'm telling you. I don't know how God's going to do this. He says, I'm going to make you a great nation, but I'm taking them out. And Moses is like, wait a minute. Oh. They ain't my people. I don't know them people. I don't know them. Don't go that on me. You're the one that brought them out. I didn't open the Red Sea. That was you. I hit the rock. Water came out, but the only reason I hit the rocks because you told me to. Then remember I disobeyed you later. That's a step into the conversation. I'm just saying, no, God, you brought him out. Then he says something that is so powerful, and this is why I want to share with you. Because he says this. He says, if you kill them and you destroy them, what are the Egyptians going to say? The Egyptians are going to say, oh yeah, he got him out of us. That's because he wanted to kill him in the wilderness. In other words, what Moses did was he went back and he began to talk to God about God. He said, God, if you let them die out here and you kill them like you say you want to kill them, people aren't going to talk about their rebellion. They're going to say you couldn't keep them. God said, they're going to say, I can't keep them. Moses, I can keep them. Today she stood up here and she said, I kind of got off and derailed. Went through some rebellion. Other folks say, see, God can't keep her. God says, I can't keep her. I can keep her. That's Charles, you jacked up. Yeah, but God can keep me. But you messed up here and this, and some of you all, I can name your stuff. You can say you messed up here, there, wherever, and the enemy's going like, see, you know it's the enemy. They look at you and say, thought you was a Christian. I know I can't be the only person that hears that one. I thought you was a Christian. I said, yes, but I'm in work. There's a work in progress. He ain't done yet.
Well, thank you, Lord.
There's signs of God working. Don't you ever been to a hotel with a remodeling? They put up a sign that says, please excuse our mess. We ought to get shirts at church. Please excuse our mess. God is in work.
Amen.
But don't say I can't keep him. Because God can keep you. His grace is enough. You see, the things I want to bring out to you real quick. Here's this. Is don't act without direction or revelation. The people began to act without direction from God. They began to act without revelation from God. They got tired of waiting. And so they acted without instruction. I was telling Mark the other day when I put this back up. I put it up once before and I followed the directions. But as I was putting it up this time, I couldn't find the directions. So I had to do it from memory. How many of y'all have faulty memory? So I put it all together and I was like, man, something ain't right. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And then I found the directions. But by then it was already up. Then I had to make the decision. Do I really want to tear it down and do it all over again? So I did. Because my fear was we paid all that money for it and we do something stupid and all of a sudden it wouldn't work anymore. So I had to follow the directions. When I did it myself, it looked good, but it was set for a failure. When you start acting without directions, you set yourself up for a failure.
Yes.
But when you wait for instructions, God will give you the direction that you need. But you have to be willing to wait for the intercessor to bring about the information that you need
Amen.
to make it happen for your good and more importantly for his glory.
Yes.
And then when the feast comes, you're not dancing naked around the golden calf. You're bowing before the eternal God and saying, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for keeping me. Thank you, God, for having your hand upon me. Thank you, Lord, for all that you've done. You see, church, I know God's able to keep you every year and every month we do communion. It's a constant reminder of God's keeping grace.
Amen.
God doesn't look at my sin and say it's okay. No. He says repent from your sin. But he'll look at me and say, I'm going to keep you. Oh, yeah, you lost your temper, but I'm going to keep you. Yeah, you messed up here, but I'm going to keep you. Because I'm not going to let the enemy say, I failed. That's why you got to wait. Because your action without direction gives the enemy cause to gloat. But when you wait upon the Lord, he'll renew your strength.
Thank you, Lord.
You'll mount up with wings as eagles. You'll run and not grow weary. You'll walk and you shall not faint when you wait. I want you to just bow your hearts just for a moment. There we go. I don't know who I've been preaching to, but I feel like there's a number of people here who have been running. You've been just running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to figure out what God is wanting to do. And God wants you to wait. If that's you, I don't want to embarrass you. I just want you to raise your hands so I can pray for you. Pray with you. Yeah, there's a number. There's a number. Moses stood in the gap and he pleaded for grace. And that's what I want to do for you. Is I want to stand in the gap and plead for God's grace to give you direction. Father, for each and every person who's here today, I pray, God, that you begin to give them the direction. Speak to them, Lord. Speak to their hearts, Father, in such a way that they pursue you. Speak to them, God, to let them know which way they need to move. As they stand still, Lord, I pray that they will see the salvation of our God, see the salvation of our King. Touch them, God, I pray. Let this word of declaration rest in them, that delay does not mean denial. For Father, as soon as you got done, you sent Moses back down. He gave them direction. And Lord, you brought about deliverance. I thank you, Father, you're doing that even in people's hearts right now. In Christ's name, the church said, Amen. As the men are going to begin to start serving communion to you, communion is another outward act of an inward change. It's symbolic of the death, the burial, and the resurrection of Jesus. I want you to think about it. The God who sacrificed his only begotten Son. Wasn't like he had 20 of them and he picked one. Wasn't like he had 12 like Jacob and picked one. His only begotten Son, whom he had never been separated from. He picked him, the holy, righteous Jesus. And he sent him to die for a world that didn't know him, for a world that didn't care about him, for a world that rejected him. That God who gives up that price for you will never leave you. He'll never leave you. He'll never forsake you. He's always able. He's able.
That which I've received from the Lord, I've delivered to you. That the Lord Jesus, on the same night he was betrayed. Every time I read that, I think about it. The same night he was betrayed. You know, I might fight for you if I think you like me. But if I know you don't like me, I don't know that I'm really going to fight for you. But on the night that he was betrayed, not just by Judas, but by Peter, not just by Judas and Peter, but all the disciples. The thousands that he fed betrayed him. The hundreds that stayed betrayed him. The apostles betrayed him. The partakers of the miracle betrayed him. You see, whenever you fall off the rails, you're in good company. The night he was betrayed, he took the bread. And when he had given thanks, he broke it. And he said, take and eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. Father, when we think about how many times we've fallen short, we've betrayed you, and we've lied about you, and we've messed up, and we've been derailed, it's easy for us, Lord, to walk in guilt. But I pray, Father, that you keep your hand upon us. Because, Lord, I know that your body was broken for us, that we can have healing, we can have deliverance, we can have strength. All of these things come because you took the price. You took the beating that belonged to us so that we can give our honor to you. So, Lord, as we partake of this communion today, I pray, Lord, that the symbol of the cracker is nothing more than a cracker. But, God, it symbolizes your price that you paid, that we can have health, that we can have strength, that we can have hope. So, Lord, we give you thanks for it as we take it. Amen. In the same manner also, he took the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the new covenant in my blood. You've been looking at lamb's blood, goat's blood, everybody else's blood. But this is my blood. It's a new covenant I'm making for you. This do as often as you drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as you drink the bread and eat the bread and drink the cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes. So, Father, as we get ready to drink of the grape juice, the symbol of your blood. Without the shedding of blood, there's no remission of sins. Without the shedding of blood, there's no hope for us. But Lord, we have hope because you gave your body and you gave your blood for us. You gave your life that we can have eternal life. You loved us so much, Lord, that you gave your only begotten Son, that whosoever should believe on you would not perish, but have everlasting life. And Lord, we take this communion in proclamation of our trust in you, of our faith in you, of our hope in you. Would you drink? Lift it up. He defeated the grave. Raised to life. Our God is able. Come on, can you stand up for a minute? Let's declare. Great. In his name. We overcome. We've overcome. Come on, sing that chorus.
defeated the grave.
Come on. He defeated the grave.
Raised to life, our God is able.
In His name,
In His name, we overcome. For the Lord, our God is able. For the Lord, our God is able.
for the Lord.
For the Lord, our God is able.
Father, we declare you, we praise you, we thank you for your ability to help us overcome, to make us overcomers in Christ's name. For each and every person today, Lord, I pray you keep your hand upon them, strengthen them, Lord. Bring them back again at the appropriate time. Encourage in the faith.